Okay, so Tom, this is Dennis Clark. We're on December 15, Sunday afternoon at about 3 p.m. This is your review of your lesson from Saturday the 14th, your second lesson with me. And I would call it great progress. And I think you're getting the notion here, you know, the big picture, right? So when we get this where we want it, there's two things that the shaft will be. It'll be steeper and it'll be more in front of you. So we're going to try. Let's see if I picked up a good model here. I picked up some new models of decent, more or less decent camera angles. Yeah. So we're going to try to keep you from dropping the club behind you and keeping you above or at least on the shaft plane. Okay. So I've got to get that club to fall down less and get the belt high here with the shaft still above. Okay, that's good because last time it was dropping under more. Club face gets quite open here, but we can worry about these things as we go on because you've learned to get that feeling because you've always been a little bit of a hangback flipper. So you're with that club you must. So I want to get that a little bit more turned down, and that's why I was giving you that tumble feeling in your lesson. So if I look at this one, the lighting's not great, but I think you'll see it. I'll kind of outline it so you can see it. Right about there. And this one, kind of like that. So that's going to require, that's not going to allow you to turn through the ball, right? When the club wants to be close to your posture, your upper body posture. It was something that Byron Nelson talked about a long time ago. And you can see this model is, and you see where yours is a little bit like this, and then your posture gets a little bit like this. So as soon as I can get that club tumbled, like we were doing the tumble, it's got two purposes. It'll turn that face down, and it will not require, but what's my word? It will require, but it'll force you to turn through more to not hook it. So if it gets open, and here it's probably some 8 degrees more open than the Touring Pro, matching the body like that and straight up and down like that. The way to square it for you is to flip the club over and stay behind it, whereas we're trying to get you to turn through and stay above it. Cover the ball more, let's put it that way. But you can't cover the ball with this club face here because this will go pretty much out to the right. Now some of that, I've deliberately moved your left thumb down so we take your hands out of it so that we did have misses to the right and would likely be more turned through. So I'm not going to make a big stink out of that, but we will look at it as we go, okay? So when we come down here, we're going to try to get the club from flattening and dropping too much behind you there. And at that point, I want to get you a little bit more on this plane. And don't want you to drop too soon under that left arm. So when you get here, it's under the left arm and open. And that's still on the left arm and more square. This gives him the freedom now to just turn through the golf ball and swing it as left as he wants and cover it all he wants, because the club face is square and the club is not below the plane. So yours still at the same point, you know, in the downswing, which is another reason why you come in with the high hands every now and then. So your hands are, you know, about the same point in the downswing there. But it does get dropped under that arm a little bit earlier, and his is still above the arm. So this is kind of the plane that he started on. And there's another difference there. So you can see where the difference in the club face and the difference in the shaft dropping below. However, because you worked on it this week and you made a move, see that move right there? That only way you did that was not with your hands, but by turning your chest into the ball a little bit. That's why I said I like that feeling of driving your right side past the ball. Now, ultimately, a couple of those blocks you hit came from this, but I'm not going to worry about that now, because I want you to miss to the right, because that'll encourage you to go to the left. So we're going to try to keep that, and this is where the big improvement came, right? So you're more over the ball. The other thing, the indication is that to give you some idea, usually when we get down to the parallel position here, you'll see one knee of a touring pro, to give you some idea how early they turn through. See, that's better. So you're getting some of the slide out of there, right? You still want to get that left leg to go straight like a post, so you can turn around it. And you don't want to keep it bent, because you're going to slide under it. So we're taking some of this slide out of there and getting some open, and this is much better here. And then you're finishing nice and over there. So really good. I mean, really going in the right direction here. Let me take a look at this one here. That's the driver. Remember the driver off the ground thing. That's a real good one. And this is one of your hybrids, it looks like, or maybe your fairway wood. Oh, this is when we were playing a little bit with the distance from the ball. I would think that you would want to stay pretty much. This is where it starts to rain. It looks like it's raining. Where you are for now, and then if you start getting this club to swing out, we might play with the distance from the ball to fit the new width of the arc. But this is what I really like right here. By the club staying above the plane line, and you firing the right side through it. The teacher named Jimmy Ballard always talked about fire the right side, fire the right side, and it's a good thought, you know, especially for those of you that get underplaned, get the shaft too flat and the club too far behind you at times. It's a good thought. You know, just not, it's so we can get hung up on turning the hips, but the arms are hanging from the shoulders. That's what has to go, and then we'll get rid of some of this flip to the left here too as we go. We want you facing the club handle a little bit more, and you are more than last week. And eventually we're going to be able to come in with lower hands. When the club gets more in front of you and a little more vertical, then the hands are going to be able to come in lower and not so high. So you'll see this manifest on your driver swing at times. like this. We haven't done a lot of this yet, but we'll get to it. See where you got the left arm a little bit bent, and you got a pretty good space between them. I'm going to try to get this extended a little bit more, and it will once we get the club more in front of you. See what your swing is, you raise the handle and shorten the radius a little bit of the downswing because of that underplane move. So when you get underplane and you get it that flattened behind you, you'll drop kick it sometimes. And so you'll try to raise things and shorten radiuses so you don't drop kick it. But what I'm trying to get is this look where the full extension of the left arm comes in, and you'll notice that after impact you got the elbows really pretty close, really pretty close together here, and full extension of this lead arm. So we want to, this is another, I told you about cause and effect, and this is another cause and effect. Like once we don't get it under plane, and the shaft on too flat of a plane, once we get the club more out in front of you, you got less likely to bottom out here, drop kick it, hit the shallow drop kicks, and you'll be able to get full extension of this club in front of you. And so this is simply a reaction to dropping under the plane, the old reaction to dropping under the plane. But we're doing less of that now, so that's the good news. And this driver off the ground, this is the driver off the tee, so. Little shot going back. Really good there, huh? Really good there. Shoulders may be a little flat, but not bad. Yeah, maybe a little stuck there, right? And now what the typical reaction to if you get too far behind you, or the shaft coming in on two sidearm like that, you could drop kick it. And so what you'll do is you'll shorten that radius of the arm here a little bit, but we're going to close that gap as we go. So the bottom line is this: keep working on what we're doing, okay? We're working on keeping the club out in front of you. We're working on when the hands come down, we don't want them to fall way behind your body. Pull them down more mid-body, like this. Much more mid-body like that. That's what I like. Yeah, for sure. Like you find so few of these guys here that let the hands drop behind them. It's always dropping mid-body. That's how you can feel the club. This is a position that we're going to use this as an example of where we're taking the golf swing for you at this point. And starting to begin the turn, keeping the club above the plane out in front of you, hands dropping mid-body, and that's where we're going with it. Okay? Any questions? Don't be afraid to give me a buzz. See you in a couple weeks.